everyone has their traditional Thanksgiving dishes. As good as those dishes are, I always wish there was something a little else going on the table.
This week on Working Class Foodies.
So Thanksgiving can be pretty stressful. You've got 8 things that need to go in the oven. You've got family everywhere. You have, football game to watch. You have to clean up your house. There's just so much going on. So one of the best things you can do for yourself is to make a good game plan to get all the food cooked in the right order so you're not killing yourself and so the dishes come out well. Anything that needs the oven, the best game plan is to have it cooked and just in need of heating up, so that when the turkey comes out of the oven, you can let it rest while you reheat your side dishes.
One of my favorite parts of a Thanksgiving meal is the cranberry relish. But I kind of wanted to try something different than the regular cranberries with orange or, I saw a recipe for a chipotle cranberry relish and I thought that could be interesting. Instead of using a dried chipotle like the recipe called for, I used a chipotle packed in adobo.
Just a typical canned chipotle.
Right. I thought that the smokiness that the adobo would bring would add a really great dimension to the cranberry sauce. In a medium saucepan, I put 1 package of fresh cranberries, 1 chipotle in its sauce, 1 1/3 cups of sugar, the juice from 1 lemon, chop 1 clove of garlic and add to the saucepan, a generous shake of cinnamon, and a generous amount of ground cumin. Cook over medium heat until the cranberries begin to pop. Simmer until the sauce thickens. Serve hot or cold, or reserve and serve the next day. The bread pudding recipe I found in the Thanksgiving issue of Bon Appetit. Molly Weisenberg, also known as Orangette in the blogosphere, made it as a vegetarian main for Thanksgiving. I thought it'd be a really good replacement for stuffing. Preheat the oven to 350 degrees. Microwave the squash for 5 minutes or until tender, stirring occasionally. Whisk the eggs in a large bowl. Add 2 1/4 cups half and half, 1 1/2 teaspoons of coarse salt, and whisk to blend. Cut the bread into 1-inch pieces. Fold the bread gently into the egg mixture. Wash and roughly chop 1 head of kale. Add the kale to the shallots and cover and cook. Stir until kale is wilted but still green. Generously butter a baking dish. Layer the bread, kale, and squash in the baking dish. Add the cheese and then layer again, and then pour the rest of the egg mixture on top. Bake for 20 minutes, and then uncover and bake for another 20. Broil the bread pudding for 2 minutes to crisp the top.
Perfecto. Growing up, I hated Brussels sprouts so much. They were on a par with lima beans for me. I just refused to touch them.
Didn't you write a song about how much you hated them, like in middle school or something? Hi. So, we had a question. Do you remember the song/poem that Becca wrote about Brussels sprouts?
All I can see is I am a Brussels sprout.
You fail. Alright, well, I guess they'll have to do. Thank you, Mom.
It serves as proof anyway.
Happy Thanksgiving.
All right.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
But since then, I've discovered how delicious Brussels sprouts can be. And I think Brussels sprouts are one of those vegetables that kind of get dumped on a lot for being gross, and if you cook them right, they're pretty awesome. To make these Brussels sprouts, I trimmed off the ends and then cut them in half. I chopped up about 2 slices of bacon and fried the bacon in a pan. Then I added the Brussels sprouts with some salt and some pepper and some fresh rosemary. Stirred that around a bit and let that cook on medium-high until the Brussels sprouts were cooked through and brown and crispy on the outside. I think a lot of people get frustrated making turkey. Most turkeys are so big that the white meat dries out before the dark meats finish cooking.
Right.
Since it was just the 2 of us, we just got a 6-pound turkey breast. Preheat the oven to 375 degrees. Wash and dry the turkey. Rub the turkey with kosher salt. Chop a 1/4 cup of fresh sage and a tablespoon of fresh rosemary. Mash together half a stick of butter, the sage, and the rosemary. And then pull up the skin of the turkey and shove the butter mixture between the skin and the meat, kind of smooth it around under the skin. Rub any extra butter on top of the skin. And then season it with salt and pepper. Roast for 20 to 30 minutes or until the skin is brown. There was enough meat to actually, we could have fed 8 people. with this one turkey breast. It was so big. I made an herb butter, and that kept the meat moist, and the herbs also infused it with this fantastic flavor. I also put a decent amount of salt on the skin before I cooked the turkey, which helped dry the skin out and crisp it up. So the meat stayed moist, the skin got crisp, and that's pretty much an ideal way to have a turkey. Add 2 cups of broth and 3/4 of a cup of cider. Boil scraping to deglaze the pan until it's reduced by about 1/4. Then whisk 2 tablespoons of flour into the pan juices, 1 tablespoon of fresh chopped sage and rosemary, and then 2 tablespoons of calvados, and serve. The apple sage worked really well together.
The bread pudding would be great for a side or a main. We used a variety of squashes.
yeah.
We used butternut, acorn,
And delicata.
that added a really nice color and a really nice texture.
And you can adjust the flavors of it too. If we'd put a little nutmeg into the custard, then it would have taken on almost more of like a pumpkin pie flavor.
Like a savory pumpkin pie.
Right. And
important distinction.
Or if we had put some like red pepper flakes in with the kale, that would have added a little bit of a spicier kick to it.
And any herbs too. Sage would have been good. Rosemary and thyme, the standard, you know. It's really easy to personalize the cranberry sauce. Any citrus is really good with cranberries. You can add the chipotle or not. It's a really simple thing to make your own.
Even though we got a local free-roaming turkey, it really wasn't that expensive. We got a 6-pound turkey breast for $24, but that turkey breast was big enough to give us about 8 servings. So it comes down to $3 a serving for the turkey, but with plenty of leftovers.
The bread pudding came to $16, but we got 8 servings out of that, so that's $2 a serving. The cranberries and the chipotle for the cranberry sauce was $2.50, which comes out to $1.75 a serving.
And the Brussels sprouts came out to $4, which is $2 a serving, which brings the total per person to $8.75. So we went a little over budget on this one by 75 cents a person. We promised you meals under $8 a person, but you know what? It's Thanksgiving. I think 75 cents is okay.
Share with us your favorite Thanksgiving recipes or what your family traditionally makes, and we'd love to put it on the blog.
So for the whole month of November, we're going to be holding some pretty cool contests. So if you guys are liking our show,
Subscribe to our YouTube page and follow us on Twitter.
we'll send you a free sticker. Get some pretty cool Hungry Nation and Working Class Foodies swag.